Hello folks, Phil Gallagher of ThrabenU here for another Legacy video. Today's video is sponsored by an anonymous donor who wanted to see some Bant SagaBlade, and boy, I love how this deck looks. Like, I'm not the biggest blue mage in the world, but man, this is a nostalgic feeling deck. This is kind of like a blue-white Stoneblade list that has specifically splashed for Noble Hierarch and some sideboard options. So you're a little bit lighter on the basic lands than you otherwise might be in a Stoneblade deck. Just taking a quick look here, like we get the basic island and the rest are non-basics. And that means that we're not going to get to go and play things like back to basics, but we're not going to want to do that for other reasons because we are an Urza's Saga deck as well. So essentially, we have the Stoneforge Mystic package for Batterskull and Kaldra. The Jitte did not make it into this deck, which I'm unsure how I feel about. Like, maybe that could be a sideboard option, or maybe Jitte's Day in the Sun is just gone and Kaldra has just fully replaced it. Hard to say. We do still have a third piece of equipment in this deck list, though, because, like, way down here, we do have the Shadow Spear as an Urza Saga target. But hopefully our Stoneforges are not fetching Shadow Spears. You know, that's not where we want to be. Kind of the thing that differentiates this Stoneblade list from a lot of the other ones I've seen is that this is a Hullbreacher deck. So this is essentially like a Spirit of the Labyrinth-like effect that gets to serve as a hate bear. And on our Noble Hierarch hands, this is a turn to play. And the follow-up Haymaker is supposed to be the Day's Undoing. So if you have Hullbreacher in play and you cast the Day's Undoing, you draw 7 cards, your opponent tries to draw 7 cards, and it does not work out for them. So instead, I get 7 treasure tokens and 7 cards, and they get nothing. As far as the sideboard goes, we have powerful green cards that are the reason why we've probably splashed green. Arbor Flowers is a little bit worse in a prismatic ending world. This was something that we hyped up on the Eternal Glory podcast as being one of the best cards in Legacy, I don't know, maybe a year ago. And now it's just like an average power sideboard card because so many of these blue decks that are dragging the games onto the late game just have prismatic ending as an answer to that. We have a lot of inevitability in the sideboard in that we can use Life from the Loam to go and recur these Urza's sagas. I don't like how soft I'm going to be to like Back to Basics and Blood Moon type effects, but hopefully between Prismatic Ending, Force of Will, and Force of Negation, I can kind of negate a lot of that. I don't think I have too much else to say about this deck, so let's kind of hop right into it. I do want to take this opportunity to remind you that if you have a deck that you want to see on the channel, my donation information is always available in the video description, as is all of the deck lists that I play. If you're new here, if you like the content, please consider subscribing. If you're a regular, throw me a like or a comment. Those are the sorts of things that support my content for free and help me get in line with the algorithm gods to grow this channel, which I really do care about. All right. Enough words. Let's battle. Okay, I've kept my opening hand here. So I've got my first 2 lands for Stoneforge. I have the ability to back it up with a Force of Will and pitch one of these Snapcaster Mages. The Snapcaster Mages are not currently good. In theory, they should become good as this game goes long, though. Let's see what we're facing down. Okay. If this is a Chalice of the Void, do I actually counter this? So, not counting the prismatic endings, I have a good number of cards that this shuts off. The thing is, though, that I'm going to put a Kaldra into play and shove it down my opponent's throat. I currently have no 1-drops. I think I'll let this resolve. Like, I can answer this with an ending later. I think it's just more important to stop something like a Blood Moon from coming down. That'll just be, like, way, way worse than a Chalice for me. Like, a Blood Moon not only denies my mana, it, like, legitimately just destroys this card. Okay, so are we looking at a Karn? Oh gosh, we are. I probably have to counter that. Alright. Goodbye. Now I'll play my Stoneforge. And, hopefully things go well from here. So land. Stoneforge, and this searches up my Kaldra. And between my opponent's Ancient Tomb and this Kaldra, this should be an extremely swift clock. Like, things can happen. Ooh. Ooh. This is not a colorless deck. What exactly are we dealing with, then? Fuck! This looks like some bullshit that I would play. Okay. Nice. I'm gonna get rid of the Chalice. I can save this to get rid of the Oblivion Ring, which is kind of cool, too. Can't do it yet, like Urza Saga doesn't make any colored mana right now. Alright, so let's Prismatic Ending the Chalice. My CMC here is 2, so I don't get countered by Chalice. I have enough colors to destroy that thing. That's totally fine. I'm saving this Ponder in case you're wondering. Like, it's reasonable that my opponent is playing some legendary creatures, and I'd rather hold up this Karakas than Ponder immediately. Ah, it begins. Alright. So, playing against stacks. I have a mana that I can use to Ponder this turn. And then I can start making Urza Saga Construct tokens. I will go ahead and Ponder. This gives me the possibility of Ponder plus Fetch. Ooh, there's also just a Stoneforge here. I really want a green land. So there's this Timeless Dragon that I might want the swords for. I don't know what to do here. My mana's just spoken for a couple of turns with this Urza Saga. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and shuffle. Alright, I did not find the green land that I wanted. Forest of Plowshares is reasonable. Until my opponent gets something like a Crucible, my situation isn't that bad, because I can just get a Retrofitter Foundry and then, like, sacrifice stuff to, like, Thopter or Servo tokens to that each turn. A Pithing Needle type effect, though, would be pretty annoying. Yep. Expedition map plus Chalice. It's a combo. I've not done math on, like, how many turns of a clock my opponent is on, because, like, the smokestack is going to make things kind of weird. Yep. Wasteland. Sure, that's pretty good. So I'll make my construct. Now I kind of want that Stoneforge that I threw away. I think I'm going to just play a Snapcaster Mage right now. Target a Ponder. And then just sacrifice a Karakas. I drew another Ponder. Let's play Mr. Graveyard Ponder. Finding lands, that's totally fine. Probably just take both lands. Well, okay, more accurately. I take Fetch with the Misty. Use that to get a green source. Use that to play a Noble Hierarch. And then I get 2 damage in this turn instead of just 1. That damage is very relevant with, like, the potential of my opponent just ticking Smokestack up to 2 and just trying to obliterate my board, hoping they can recover from it better than I can. Okay, they're losing a Plains. Is this going up to 2? It is going up to 2. So Tabernacle starts to get weird as something that can be problematic. Alright, what are we dealing with? It's gotta be something like a Karn? Oh, it's cycling. Oh, it's returning the Timeless Dragon. Sure. So I guess I swords this. And then I tapped that wrong. I think I'm going to sacrifice a Hierarch. I cost myself a mana here. That's fine. Guess Ponder first. So let's Ponder. Having to swords that thing is pretty annoying in terms of, like, finishing this game. I'm gonna get a Stoneforge back, though, at some point when my opponent sacrifices that Oblivion Ring. I can hit my opponent for 4 down to 6. Then I can sacrifice 3 lands. Hit them for 4 down to 2. It's weird depending on when they do this whole Oblivion Ring thing. I think I'm just gonna make the land drop here. Alright, I'm gonna grab the Tundra. Go land drop. Play Shadow Sphere. Hit for my 4. Bring my opponent to 6. And, okay, so they're junking the Oblivion Ring here. Yes, I will use Stoneforge Mystic's ability. That gives me a shuffle, actually, which is kind of cool. So this is putting my opponent to lethal? Yeah. Okay, cool. Alright. That was a little stressful, but ultimately fine. So what do I like? I really like Life from the Loam. I think Force of Negation is reasonable. Aether Spellbomb as a way to bounce construct tokens is not crazy. I don't know that it's fantastic, but it's not crazy. I didn't see that many threats from my opponent. I definitely don't need Soul Guide. Well, Soul Guide Lantern technically has text against a Crucible, which my opponent certainly has. So the whole Hullbreacher Days Undoing thing is sort of awkward. I guess really cool when it works, but ultimately is kind of slow. I don't know exactly what I want to do regarding these Urza Saga tutor targets. Like 100%, these 4 cards come in. I am relatively light on win conditions. I'm going to say this, okay? I'm going to say this. I know how crazy this sounds, but if my Stoneforges or my Urza Sagas were to get Surgical Extraction, it would be very awkward for me. I don't have something like a Planeswalker that I can just, like, alternatively win the game with. So I maybe don't get to board out all my Hullbreachers. Like, I just have to, like, keep some of them as 3/2 attackers. Days Undoing is kind of graveyard hate, though. Just saying. The thing. Yeah, I really don't know how to sideboard here. Maybe I'll keep the Soul Guide Lantern and the Pithing Needle, like they're both fine versus Wasteland. Go down some Days Undoings, a Hullbreacher, and a... No, Snapcaster Mage is pretty good, and another Hullbreacher. That gets these cards in here. It means I don't bring in the Spellbomb to bounce those tokens, but I keep Swords of Plowshares. Actually, maybe I do a flip-flop of some numbers there. So I have a Life from the Loam. I don't super care if I get Chaliced. Wasteland's a little annoying, kind of. I don't know that this is better than a Stoneforge Mystic hand. Like, this hand is fine. It's just awkward. In that a Chalice stops 3 cards in my hand. Keep? Like... I think a 6-card hand ends up being approximately the same strength as this hand a good portion of the time. Like, I'm valuing my Life from the Loam pretty damn highly here, in choosing to keep this hand, which I think is fine. We'll see if my opponent has a good follow-up play. They absolutely have things that'll be rough here. Now, that's one of them. Never didn't have it. But what's my line next turn? Is next turn a Life from the Loam turn, or is next turn Activate Urza Saga? I think next turn is just Life from the Loam and just set myself up to make repeated land drops. This line's a little worse against a Karn specifically. Yep. Don't Crucible me. That's good. Very good, in fact. Prismatic Ending is a little late to the party now. This is incredibly awkward for me. The Chalice was fine. The Trinisphere was not fine. Like, I can play this Urza Saga and, like, probably make it destroy itself. I'm probably not even supposed to play that card yet. Yeah, I think I'm just going to discard here rather than play the Urza Saga. I think if I play this and it destroys itself, it's just, like, too devastating for me. Need to make another land drop first and then play that. So I'll take my 2 damage here. Yeah. Rough. I'll keep discarding unders, I guess. Maybe a Pithing Needle is worse. Situation not good currently. I'll take my 2 damage, go to 16. I'm really probably effectively at something closer to 14 life because... Alright. I can't beat that from here. So my opponent got established before I could start doing Life from the Loam stuff. That is what it is. Do I want anything like Surgical or Rest in Peace? I don't think I get to play Rest in Peace alongside Life from the Loam. And I don't actually think Surgical is good enough. Like, I can Pithing Needle or Life from the Loam to shut off that sort of plan. Let's go ahead and run it back. We should be significantly better while on the play here. And just noting, like, if we were playing a straight blue-white Stoneblade list and we had a bunch more basics, things would have been just much, much safer there. Keep? Probably pitch the Brainstorm here. It doesn't matter too much what I pitch here, because it probably just, like, goes back regardless. I think I am just going to Pithing Needle Wasteland on turn 1. Like, there's some worlds where that comes back to bite me, but I just need to stop that shit. Okay. Dallas. That's fine. Guarding of Flagstones. I think this time I have to force this because I don't have my second land right now. Like, I don't really want to use my Force of Will there because, like, a lot of times this happens and I'm just, like, good from there, but I just got to do what I got to do here. So let's fetch, grab a white source, pass the Life from the Loam to make sure we hit next turn's land drop, and then I have Ponder into Shuffle, which hopefully does things that matter. My opponent can just play, like, a Karn-sized threat this turn, and that would be bad for me. Okay. Thought Not Seer. I mean, that's pretty good. It's not killing me right now. I'm not gonna dredge. Don't need a land. Prismatic Ending, not what I'm looking for currently. Do I want to Prismatic Ending Mox Diamond? I don't think I do. I think there's more important fish to fry than that. Like, it's my opponent's white mana, which is cool, but I would be much more afraid of, like, a Chalice or a Crucible right now than I would be of like, an Archon of Emeria. Like, Archon would still be bad. I mean, that forces my fetch, which is annoying because I'm going to, like, bring that back with Life from the Loam as well. I'm going to get another Tundra. Your Pithing Needle resolves, presumably naming Blotted Strand. There are other options. You can name Urza Saga here. Alright, they are going to name Urza Saga. So, do I dredge this Life from the Loam, trying to find an Urza Saga? Or do I just take a draw? I think I just take a draw. Hell yeah. I'm going to Stoneforge Mystic here. Yes. Grab the Kaldra. And I think now that I have something in play that I don't want to lose to white removal, I go ahead and answer that Mox Diamond now. Because it's hard to just take, like, out a Stoneforge Mystic using only colorless mana. There's things like the Spatial Contortion type cards that can do it. But generally speaking, that probably requires white mana. Alright, I will happily take my 4 damage here. And I think this is going to be a defensive Kaldra for a little while. Unless something changes. Okay, so I've forced a loss of the City of Traders. And that's an Archon of Emeria. So this makes... Okay, this doesn't do anything to creatures, just confirming. There's a couple of similar effects like this that make creatures enter tapped. I think I just need a draw to, like, stabilize me from this card. That can still attack me in the air. The Thought Knot can't attack anymore. Alright, I'll just be passing the turn here. Presumably putting in my Kaldra. But there is some fringe worlds where I end up having to Force of Negation something instead. Alright. Here comes the Archon. Yep. I'm at 7. Okay. I mean, we've stopped that problem preemptively. And now I can go ahead and put in the Kaldra. I think I am on natural draws here. What I'm looking for. I could attack with this Kaldra and then chump block with Thought Not Seer. It's really awkward if my opponent draws an Oblivion Ring, though. I guess I'm already losing if my opponent draws... no. Guess I have a Force of Negation. Yeah, if I steal a win this game, It's probably by doing this. My opponent also, like, might not attack due to the fear of Batterskull. Like, that would be disastrous. Ooh. Cycling that. They don't have the second white to... Oh, no, that gives them the second white to bring it back. And that dodges Force of Negation. Think I'm going down, folks. Don't have like a Supreme Verdict type card to get me out of this situation. Yeah, okay, they've played around it, around the Batterskull. I'll go to 5 here. And then they'll eternalize this Timeless Dragon, which dodges this card. Yep. So I am dead in the air. Can't dredge that. Yeah, I mean, I can do a decent-sized attack, but I'm just a little bit too slow here. I mean, I don't really feel bad losing to the stack, right? GG's. Okay, I've got a bit of an awkward opening hand here. Like, I have an Urza Saga that I can start with. I don't have Force of Will active. I can't cast this Noble Hierarch. I think I just try to find a more consistent 6-card hand. This is fine. I'm going to keep this. The question is, like, which of Pithing Needle or Batterskull do I throw back? Neither is good right now. I think I'm going to throw back the Batterskull. And then just straight up play Pithing Needle on turn 1 on Wasteland. Like, there's plenty of scenarios where this is a absolute 0 value play. And there's plenty of scenarios where this just immediately wins me the game because my Urza Sagas go uncontested for the entirety of the match. So, we'll see which world I'm living in. Please don't be Doomsday. I do not have a hand that is equipped to beat Doomsday currently. Okay, Tundra. Probably not Doomsday. Alright, Retrofitter Foundry. So we're going to be playing against probably some blue-white-red Ragavan Urza Saga mush pile. I want to Ponder and play Urza Saga, which is a little awkward in terms of, like, maximizing the value of this Ponder. But, like, I don't have Swords to Plowshares actively up right now. How are these cards? Medium? Like, I don't... Like, these are Swords to Plowshares 4 and 5, essentially. I think I'm just going to shuffle here. Like, finding something like a Stoneforge would just be stronger. And, Plan A is win with this Urza Saga. Plan B is draw something else that can become a plan. Okay. Buckle up, folks. It's gonna be a long one. Okay. The opponent tapped and untapped that Tundra. They might have, like, a prismatic ending that I should just, like, kind of be aware of. At some point, I can prismatic ending away their Retrofitter Foundry. I think it's more important for me to make my constructs on curve, though. So they'll make a 1... or not. That's, I think, just a missed servo for free. Okay. Ooh. Wonder if they're, like, the blue-white painter deck that I was working on. That should have aired for you all by the time this goes live. Okay, yes, you may make yours in response. That's fine. So, Days Undoing is interesting. I will make a new construct. And then I have to decide whether or not I'm going for Shadow Spear or my own Retrofitter Foundry. I think I want to have my stuff be bigger. Yeah, I think I want my stuff to be bigger eventually. So I will fetch, grab a new Tundra, Prismatic ending away your Retrofitter Foundry. Days? Days? Okay. That means you don't get another construct out of this deal. Huh. I don't know how I feel about that play. I also don't know how I feel about Days in the Seat of the Synod Urza Saga deck. But we'll see what they're up to. I could fish out a Needle for my Retrofitter Foundry. Fish out a Spellbomb, answer one of my constructs. Fish out a Shadow Spear for lifelink. They're about to lose a land, though, which is rough after Days happening. Yeah. Okay, so they're going to Expedition map for it. Why did... I thought you were about to Expedition map for a new Urza Saga. Apparently not. Okay, Prismatic ending on my thingy. That's fine. So now we're going to crack the map. Oh, that's actually very bad for me. Huh. Okay. So, I guess I just cast this Days Undoing. That's awkward. Like, I thought I was very much in a situation where I was just gonna, like, clean up one of their constructs and then just, like, decimate this game from there. Okay. I have a Stoneforge Mystic as a very, very reasonable follow-up play here. Yeah, I think we're staring at each other for a little while. Wow. They're straight up going to discard here. No lands in all of those cards, which probably means there's, like, counterspells and shit, so, like, I have to be aware of that. Alright, so let's go land drop. Attempt a Stoneforge, which maybe gets countered. It does not get countered. Nice. Yes, I'll use this ability. Yes, I will pick up Kaldra. I'll then go ahead and pass my turn. And I'll play a Hullbreacher at my opponent's end of turn. I don't really care if it gets countered. Like, okay, their opponent hit another land drop. That's fine. Opal's fine. So, like, last turn they could have cracked an expedition map to not miss their land drop, right? So, I'm a little confused about some of the things going on over there. Prismatic Ending. I mean, sure, I'm pretty close to just hard casting it, although I guess you do have Dazes. Resolves. I assume no attacks, but I could be wrong. No, they are going for attacks, so this can be an 8/8. I think I'm going to go ahead and fetch and see if my Hullbreacher resolves. I think I am still just going to play that now. Grab a Savannah. Let's see if this resolves. And I can think about throwing everything in front of the bus here to get rid of this construct token. I don't know that it's good to do so, because, like, my opponent can fish up another Urza Saga, but, like, they haven't been doing that. Okay, they do have another Days. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hitting one more land drop gives me 7 for Kaldra. I think I'm just going to stay aggressive here, at least for this turn. Okay, opponent did not activate Retrofitter Foundry for the 1 extra damage. This means that I do have the ability to cast the Kaldra next turn guaranteed. Alright, let's get in there. There's some worlds where this can get a little weird for me making this attack. It's specific. What the fuck are you doing and not, like, activating your cards that have these activated abilities? Ugh. My opponent has, like, given up so much value. It might not matter. Alright, so I'll take 7 and go to 4. Alright, so, let's see if they have the third Days or a Force of Will effect, in which case things get a little dicey here. Does it work? Does not. Okay. So now I probably only get to attack with one of these, and I leave one behind to block. I'm just gonna assume at this point that my opponent doesn't know that their cards have activated abilities. Like, I don't know how else I'm supposed to act. Okay, they go to 6. Oh, now they know it's a card. Sure, that's fine. Note that if my opponent would have activated Retrofitter Foundry the other 2 times, I would absolutely be dead here. Alright, so I do my whole chump block thing. Alright. Now I just need to rip something to finish off from this chalice. Or to get out from under this chalice, rather. Alright, I get one more turn worth of chump blocks. So I have to draw something that can allow me to get out from under either the chalice or stop this thing. Alright, here's the activation for the servo. Fine. That's going to beat me. Pretty much regardless of what I draw next turn. Okay. Jump block here. Take 1, go to 2. Have to draw, like, an ending here. A Hullbreacher. I am dead even if I play that. I think my opponent played that one really poorly. Like, they Missed a land drop by not cracking Expedition Map and just, like, discarded instead. They missed 2 or 3 Retrofitter Foundry activations. But, like, I had, like, 4 dead cards in hand and I couldn't capitalize on it, so, that is what it is. What do I want here? Probably don't want Soul Guide Lantern. Pithing Needle is awkward in that it's gonna, like, we have the same stuff in deck. Like, it'll be great sometimes and unplayable other times. I wish I had the 4th Prismatic Ending either in the board or in the deck over one of the Swords of Plowshares. It's super awkward that I don't. The Hullbreacher Days Undoing portion of the deck is, like, medium when you're not playing against a cantrip deck. Like, Hullbreacher is bad versus Urza Saga Construct tokens, and not great versus, like, chump blockers like servos. The issue is, like, a lot of the stuff that is theoretically good in the matchup, like maybe Carpet of Flowers and Veil of Summer, become, like, very awkward in terms of my mana and in terms of the Chalice of the Void that's, like, very good against me. I'm going to go down a couple of Hierarchs. I think I'd rather have Carpet of Flower over Hierarchs. Like, the Carpets aren't always good. Oh, maybe that's not true. I don't know how to board here. This is just incredibly awkward. I don't have resources that are particularly good, and, like, Veil and Carpet do strange things. Like, Veil is good against counter spells, but, like, holding that up versus Days is, like, very bad. Begrudging Keep. Like, I just want to play a Stoneforge and kind of, like, attempt to just get my opponent rather than keep a hand that doesn't have gas. I'm guessing my opponent's deck improved way more than mine did. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that I like the sideboard for this deck. Sure, your pedal's fine. Okay, so let's go land under. We're looking for, like, a Stoneforge or equivalent threat. I'll take the ending and leave a Brainstorm on top. I'm probably just going to fetch it away. Like, I don't really want the card that's under it. I could just draw the Brainstorm. I'll kind of wait and see based on what my opponent does here. What the fuck is this? Enters the battlefield with loyalty equal to the number of lands you control. Surveil 2, exile a creature. You might put an artifact card from your hand or graveyard onto the battlefield. So I'm gonna counter this. My general rule of thumb in Legacy is when you don't know why someone is playing something, you counter it. Like, I'm not super afraid of that card right now, but I would rather use my turn to try to, like, ponder into a Stoneforge or something like that, rather than, like, use my turn to Prismatic Ending that away and giving my opponent an activation of it. Let's tap Tundra for this. Alright, yeah. Do I play this into Days? For tempo-based reasons, I would love to, but I'm probably not supposed to. I will take it, though. Let's take that, play Misty, and pass. And I will be shuffling. Okay, sure. Alright, do you have, like, Karn or something in here? Do. And go ahead. I presume you're gonna just get, like, a liquidy metal coating or something. Yeah, liquidy metal coating. Sure. And then I'll go ahead and fetch and grab another Tundra at end step. I like to draw land here. Now, this turn's awkward. Ugh, playing around Days is so fucking costly this turn. I really need to get on board and play this Pithing Needle. My opponent has 5 cards in hand. One of them is a dud, so they've really got 4 cards in hand. I think I lose the game if they have Days. This feels fucking awful in terms of mana efficiency. Alright, so I shut that off. So, like, the thing is that Days is still going to be good next turn, right? Because, like, they can just play liquidy metal coating and still just, like, do that. So I think it was too important to resolve this so that my opponent can't get, like, bridge or something. Alright, they didn't have the Days. Let's go to Kaldra. My position is not great. And not horrible either. Yeah, if I didn't needle that Karn, I could have absolutely just gotten Mycosynth Lattice to this turn. Okay, sure. What's the follow-up? Am I losing the Stoneforge? Oh. That's some shit. Yep, that happens. So if my opponent has an ensnaring bridge, they get an ensnaring bridge down right now. Which is okay, because I'll just prismatic ending it for X's. No, I won't. I'm going to get Rashad imported. Not great for me. I wonder if I lost this one for playing around days on turn 2, when my opponent didn't have it. Alright, so you're down to 13 to play this. I really hope my opponent misses porting me with liquid metal coating. I mean, fucking sick, right? Cool. White, blue, green. Please don't have days. Okay. Did not have days. Sack and kill Karn. I now have Force of Negation up for Hullbreacher. And I'm pretty sure my opponent punted this game. Yep. I mean, we take these. Black. Oh, yeah, I guess you did have the whatchamacallit. Dakon Shadow Slayer. I have Kaldra with pseudo Force of Negation backup, like that answers stuff sometimes. I will absolutely Force of Negation this. Goodbye. Last card's got to be real good. So, like, just saying, the days in this mana base is rough. Third Karn? Third Karn. Okay, you get the third one. I'm just going to get a Kaldra attack and kill it, so we don't know exactly where that goes. That's meaningful. Second sideboard ensnaring bridge. Okay. I'll answer that later. I think I'm going to save this brainstorm for a little while. I get punished if my opponent plays Chalice, but otherwise I think I want to, I think I want to save it and just better select for prismatic ending later when I have like fetch lands involved as well. Okay, cool. So like notably here, my opponent does also just have like 2 ancient tombs, right? So like there's some worlds where their draws are awkward and they have to like tap these for mana. Yes. Okay, so you remember when I talked about you know, some random shit getting surgical and it being bad for me? There's an example of that sort of thing happening. Yep, your ensnaring bridge resolves. Like I just find another ending or a Snapcaster Mage or something, and it's totally fine. I can also just find a Noble Hierarch and attack with that. All right, I'm okay firing off the Brainstorm here. Swords goes back. I think the Brainstorm goes back. I'll go ahead and fetch. Or like a Savannah here, I guess. Play a Retrofitter Foundry. So now, if my opponent has Dazes in their deck, and I don't give them a target for that spell, they have a card that can get stuck in their hand. Let's make my idiot. Force is not what I want. Let's ponder. Basically looking for a prismatic ending or another cantrip. That's not what I'm looking for. Land. I'll play it. That gives me hardcast Force of Will next turn. That's fine. So now, notably, if I get Noble Hierarch, that's pretty legit. Let's make the duder. Cool, cool. I am not even going to cast this Ponder, I don't think. Like, the Ponder wins me the game on the spot in any instance where it finds one of 2 prismatic endings or a Snapcaster Mage, but I don't want to just, like, lose the game to my opponent pulling a Haymaker on a board where, like, all I need to do is draw a card that answers this bridge and I just win. Prismatic ending on Retrofitter Foundry. I will absolutely allow this. I'll make one more creature on the way out and call that good. This is going to be a slow game. Urza Saga. Okay, that means I can hold up Force of Will after playing a Ponder, so that's fine. Noble Hierarch. Noble Hierarch is totally fine. I am not going to play it this turn, though. Again, I don't want to just lose this game to my opponent. drawing a Haymaker. So many of their draws are going to be things that I don't care about enough to counter, but the things that I have to counter are so incredibly important. All right, let's fetch and clear the top of the library there. And then I can start doing some Urza Saga type stuff. Oh, yeah. Actually, that's not really good in multiples. Oh, no, it is good in multiples. All right, so I will play out a Noble Hierarch. This leaves me with 5 mana for Force of Will, and if I don't have to Force of Will, I activate Urza Saga. Yep. Cool. There's a construct. Second construct doesn't really matter. I don't even think I'll probably make it. Yeah, I don't think I'll make the second construct here. I'm just going to pick up a Spell Bomb. Do I turn it into a card immediately? Sure. I'm good with that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this will be 6. Means that I can go ahead and do this. And now I get attacks in, under, and ensnaring bridge. Alright, good stuff. Opponent's at 6. Ensnaring bridge has been invalidated. I have protection from a Haymaker. I think I'm in the clear. Another Stoneforge. I'll crash in with my Noble Hierarch. That brings my opponent to 4. And counting my Noble Hierarch mana, it is okay for me to go ahead and just play a Stoneforge Mystic here. Purely just to get something out of the deck, so I don't draw it. Grab that Batterskull. You can put it in at my opponent's end step. Sure, absolutely thin your deck. Like, you don't know, it doesn't really matter, but I know. I mean, I guess they could, like, draw a Timeless Dragon, cycle it, and then, like, that gets awkward for me, right? Okay, so we have to do this again. I still feel very awkward about, like, my cards for this matchup. Noble Hierarch has gone up some points now that I know they have 2 sideboard ensnaring bridges. Those probably need to get back in here. Let's assume the Days Undoing stuff is just too cute. Do I want Veil or Carpet? I didn't see any Dazes in a very long game. My opponent could bring them back in on the play, though. I'm gonna board like this. I don't know. I just feel very awkward about my cards here. This is probably fine. It's not overly, like, innately exciting. Alright, am I going to get chaliced on 1? I'm not good against that as of right now. I am. So this game is going to go very slowly for me. Okay. Not what I'm looking to see. I can just, like, draw an ending and everything's okay, or I could just, like, get turboed out of this game. Okay, that helps a lot. That just greatly decreases the chances that I'm just going to die to my opponent, like playing a Karn or something next turn before I get in this game. Okay. Is this just purely a thinning thing, or do you actually have a play? All right, purely a thinning thing. Sure. All right. Is it Karn time? Feels like it's Karn time. This is 4 mana. It's a Karn. So I'm going to force that and pitch a Ponder. It will be a little bit better against a Karn next turn because I can just play a Hullbreacher. I'll be playing it in Days, but, you know, I don't know that I can play around that here. Like, I have a Batterskull that's very likely to get dazed if I don't do something Daze-worthy first. Grab a Trop with 1 and a Tundra with the other. You got 4 cards. Is it just a bunch of lands? Do you have the Dazes? Okay, nice. I'll try to bash in for 3. That's all I can do here. It works. Cool. Yeah, my opponent might have locked themselves out of some plays with their own Chalice. Yep, that's fine. Okay. You have, like, a Walking Ballista or something that you need to fetch for? What is this? Or is it just, like, a Karn? Okay. Surprised that the triple pip card is in that Ancient Tomb City of Traders deck. Okay. So I will go ahead and Prismatic Ending away that Chalice. I'll then Ponder, basically just looking for another... Oh man, that's wonderful. Which order do I even put this in? I think I want to play the Hullbreacher next turn. Yeah. I'll draw Tundra now. And I'll just put this Spell Bomb into play, I think. My position is pretty good. Like, I have this Batterskull for, like, the long term. That Retrofitter Foundry is pretty good for my opponent with that much mana. I will just plan on flashing in a Hullbreacher end of turn. Right? That's fine. Like, I'll let you play around with this for a little while, and then I will, like, use the Prismatic Ending. That's my next card down to answer that. But, like, I don't want to just, like, fire off the Brainstorm into Prismatic Ending initially because of, like, this exact sort of situation. I can just save all this stuff. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and just let that resolve. Then I'll just eat this servo in combat, or attempt to. We'll see if my opponent remembers that they can just, like, sacrifice it. Okay, resolves. Block. Alright, and they indeed do go ahead and transform it into another creature. That's fine. I will go ahead and start with... this is kind of weird, but do I just Prismatic Ending the Retrofitter Foundry? Oh, that's interesting. So if I Prismatic Ending the Retrofitter Foundry, my opponent can untap it, make a 4/4. I bounce that. I attack my opponent to 4. I have a Batterskull waiting in the wing. No, I think I do go. Maybe I do. Maybe I do this. I'm gonna start with the attack, actually. Let's crash in for the 3 and see how my opponent treats this. Yep, this is all part of the plan. Yeah, so you make your 4/4. I just bounce that out of the way. This puts you to 3. Or sorry, this puts you to 4. Now, I think I do just go ahead and take this out. Leaves me with some dead cards in hand. But, like, plays around days, puts my opponent on a 2-turn clock. I have Batterskull coming afterwards. I think this is okay. Especially with a Force of Will to back it up now. Like, my opponent might have some outs, but, like, they need to have some bangers here. Alright, that was my opponent's game. Like, they absolutely could have beaten me a number of different ways, and I think maybe due to either unfamiliarity with their deck, or maybe they weren't fully paying attention, but they made some very costly errors that I think cost them that match at multiple different points. Hey, if you made it this far in the video, you're probably enjoying my content. And if you're regularly enjoying my content, consider becoming a YouTube member or subscribing to me on Twitch. Either one's fine. And you can gain access to both my Discord server, where you can chat with me a little more casually and sometimes influence what you see on the channel. And you also gain access to some member exclusive videos. Okay, that's the plug. Back to the show. Okay, so Island Ponder is a keep, right? What about Tundra Ponder? I'm gonna, like, keep this. My opponent, like, mulligans into Oblivion, and I get punished for not just mulliganing to a Force of Will. That, like, is what it is, but I don't think I'm gonna read too much into a single mulligan decision here. Alright, I need to hit this next land drop very badly. I think I don't answer Dragon Rage Channeler on turn 1 accordingly. I think it's just way too important to find this land drop so that I don't just lose to Wasteland. Hey, land drops. Yes. I think I sequence this like so that I can play Prismatic Ending next turn, even if I get Wastelanded. Okay, didn't immediately get Wastelanded at the very least. Just so much selection. Sprite Dragon? Wow! Ain't seen one of those in ages. Okay, not getting Wastelanded this turn. That's a big win. 3 card types in graveyard already. That'll be the 4th card type. Oh, okay. 5th card type. So my opponent is playing a really low to the ground, like, prowess style blue-red Delver deck. Like, I'm getting attacked for 3 on turn 2 here. I think I'm going to go ahead and play a Prismatic Ending around a Daze here. And I will probably fire off a Brainstorm on my opponent's turn just to, like, churn through that card. I don't want to just, like, draw that Retrofitter Foundry next turn and just, like, have that be my turn. Okay, sure. Now, in this matchup, my Uzi What's It in the sideboard are going to be good. My Carpet of Flowers. Okay, another Volk into Dash Ragavan. Let's brainstorm here. I mean, that's Hullbreacher Days Undoing. That's legit. I don't think I thought about that enough in terms of, like, using the Ragavan to clear the top card of my library. So small error there. Like, I give my opponent a Brainstorm. That just, like, guaranteed gives them a card, whereas I could have just put something shitty on top of my library, like the Kaldra, and just blanked that. That's a misplay on my end. Alright, now this Ragavan is just going to bounce back to their hand. Just play Retrofitter Foundry here. I think I'll just hold up my mana. Like, there's some worlds where I Hullbreacher, there's some worlds where I Swords. Hullbreacher line's just bad versus Days. Okay. Alright. I bet this is a deck that has a Shockland in it. Just kind of... Oh, that's interesting timing. Oh, they knew about a card from a Brainstorm previously. Okay. Guess that's reasonable then. They could follow up with a Ponder or something, and be totally fine. Note, I'm not going for the Hullbreacher on that Brainstorm. I want to kind of be a little more flexible in my mana usage this turn, because, like, I know there's a Ragavan. I know there's the possibility of something big and scary like this happening this turn. I don't want to do this. I think I just want a Swords. Like, it's mana inefficient, but doing it now plays around Daze and Spell Pierce. It uses my mana terribly inefficiently. Still got all these Hullbreachers. Might just die to this card in 2 turns. Okay. I'll take 7 here. Go to 8. And then attempt a Hullbreacher. I'm doing this into, like, Daze and Bolt and stuff, so it's, like, not actually super great. Alright, turn's kind of going to play itself here. Like, I get to attempt to do this attack in and then play the Daze Undoing. But, like, I'm playing this into, like, Daze and Force, and Force of Negation and Force of Will. Also, I can just draw my opponent a bunch of Lightning Bolts. Alright, main deck Pyroblast, sure. Alright, I'm going to go to 1 here. I won't be able to fetch at all. There's the Steam Vents I thought was going to be around. Just got too much fat here. I'm going to be dead to a Lightning Bolt. Also going to be dead to another Murktide Regent. Or anything else that can take a card out of their graveyard. Cool. Well, that was no shuffle with the Ponder. And they don't actually get a card out of it due to Hullbreacher. But they're just looking for a card that finishes me. Oh wait, wasn't I just... Yeah, okay. I'm dead to a different thing instead. I was also just dead to, like, Dash Ragavan, I guess. Cool. Okay, as we saw here, I don't think the Hullbreacher Days Undoing package is necessarily where I want to be. I think I want Carpets. I think I want the Rest in Peace. I think I want the Spell Bomb. I don't think I want to try to mess around with Days Undoing. I'm not, like, super into Force of Will. Might need to keep it. I don't need Pithing Needle. Soul Guide Lantern is eh. I'm probably just going to junk that and, like, assume that getting a Spell Bomb or a Retrofitter Foundry or a Shadow Spear is going to be better for me. Probably trim a Noble Hierarch if I'm bringing in that many Carpets. Actually, do I just do a 1-for-1 substitution on those? I could also just, like, keep them as additional mana sources, assuming that, like, if I make it to the later, like, Batterskull Kaldra type stuff, I just win. I could play Veil over Force of Will, but stopping a Murktide Regent so that I just don't die, or, like, backing... Yeah, Force does that, and Veil doesn't. I don't know, I'm not super keen on Veil here. I have, like, tap out levels of mana in a handful of situations, and Veil doesn't stop a Pyroblast from just, like, destroying some of these blue permanents once they're in play. Yeah, and if I bring in the Veils, I'm going down on my blue card density, which is, like, another thing as well. How is this as a 6-card hand? Slightly clunky. I'd have to force a will to protect a Noble Hierarch so I can start. I can't even start making Urza Saga Constructs on turn 2 because I can't play that on 1. And I think this one goes back. This one is like close, but like the Kaldra already makes it into a mulligan. I think I have better Stoneforge Mystic based hands. This is not one of them. Holy cow. Nope. Okay. All right. That goes back, and this goes back. All right. Force of Will into Wasteland is a disaster for how I am going to play out this hand. Actually, do I get Savannah? I can do everything. No, I probably just get the Trop. Like the cantrips are so important to cast here. All right, it has resolved. Land. All right, we're just gonna chill. We're just gonna chill. You've got to play lands eventually, opponent. I'm on to you. They can just play a fetch land though and like chill and kind of time walk me. They're thinking hard. Do I play that land? Please do. I need my other carpet. I need some other things too, but we'll get to that. All right, sure. Okay, so I've got a ponder. That's fine. I'm gonna carpet for carpet. Really? Everyone is fucking out there just fucking wilding on surgical extraction today. Okay, Pyroblast goes to the yard. You can absolutely extract my Flooded Strands. Go nuts. Like, that card's presumably being brought in to, like, fight against an Uro, right? Seems like an incredibly aggressive use of that card. Alright, so we'll use Carpet of Flowers ability to make green mana. I will use my green mana to cast another Carpet of Flowers. I'll then go to my second main phase, where I will use this ability to make white mana. And I will go ahead and white mana and try to destroy Dragon Rage Channeler. Nice. Now, Dash Ragavan and Murktide Regent are not answerable via Prismatic Ending. Otherwise, I think I'm okay. Okay. Fetch. Fetch. Fucking do it. Alright, they don't do it. I will use this ability. I will make blue with this one. I will not use this ability yet with this second one. I'll attempt to ponder. Yes. These are really good cards. I'm going to put the Tundra on bottom. I'm going to draw the Force of Will. And then next turn, if my opponent fetches, I have Stoneforge Mystic around Days. Otherwise, I can wait it out another turn if I need to. I just like want to be able to answer a Murktide Regent if one comes down. It would maybe force a Dash Ragavan. Okay, opponent is fetching. Going for the tapped Steam Vents while they still can. And now I'm past my mana bottleneck. Now I just have at minimum 4 mana a turn. Blue mana. Ooh, blue mana. Alright, so this is the Murktide Regent that I was preparing for. Hell yeah. Now I can still get like dazed or forced or whatever, but like I attempt to pick my fight over that. So let's make white mana. Make more white mana. Attempt a Stoneforge Mystic. Yes. Is it Batterskull? Or is it Kaldra? I'm pretty close to just casting a Batterskull. Like if my opponent plays one more land, that just becomes castable. Kaldra is also just castable because I have a Tundra on top of my library. So if my opponent plays another land, I can just do it that way. I'm just gonna grab the Batterskull. Like, the Kaldra is definitely better in some ways, like against another Murktide Regent or something, but it's so much easier for me to just put this Batterskull into play one way or another. Also, just the ability to re-equip the Batterskull will be clutch when I get to the point where I have to play some shitty creatures like Noble Hierarch. Actually, a lot of the Hierarchs are boarded out, right? Okay, I gotta shuffle out of that. Okay, Lightning Bolt, Lightning Bolt. That's fine. Do I just cast the Batterskull into Daze? I don't think I do. I'm not gonna play that land. It just gets like wastelanded immediately. Is that true? Maybe I do play the land. Yeah, I'm fine with playing the land. Because if it doesn't get wastelanded and then I draw another land, I can just play Batterskull around days that way. Yeah, buddy. Second Steam Vents, even. They know what they're about. Port of Cunning. Sure. Okay. That's pretty legit. I can Prismatic Ending this away if I want. I don't think I have to this turn. Let's make a bajillion blue mana. And just start off there. There's a Batterskull. And I know this isn't a value play, but I think I'm just straight up gonna play an Ambush Viper. This makes it so that I have two different creatures in play. I can Prismatic Ending away a blocker, I can become the Monarch, and then once I'm the Monarch, I can remove this Court of Cunning and feel pretty good about it. This way it takes something like an Abrade plus a Lightning Bolt or something like that to keep me from becoming the Monarch, or like removal spell plus creature or double creature or something. Sure. Alright, what are we looking at? Alright, Lightning Bolt is 1. Followed by Murktide Regent. Alright, that's reasonable. Noble Hierarch is a draw. So let's get blue with one of these. Let's get green with the other one. Prismatic Ending this court. Or white, blue, green. That's 3 different colors. Okay. Now I'll go ahead and just play a Noble Hierarch. And call it a turn. I can work towards doing some very strange, like, Batterskull bounce re-equip situations with double carpet. Opponent's sitting here with a blue mana in pool. Why? What are they doing? Dragon Rage Channeler, okay. Brainstorming, sure. Throwing another Dragon Rage Channeler in the bin. Alright. I need to answer this Murktide Regent. Don't have a lot of time to do so. It's really like a second Murktide Regent that really tilts this in my opponent's favor, though, right? Like, if they attack me for 6, I attack back for 5 via Exalted. It's not that big a deal. I wonder if my opponent actually has Expressive Iteration in their deck. It seems like they might be lower to the ground. Like, I haven't seen that yet. We're pretty deep into 2 games. And that was a shuffle with the Ponder. They don't like what they're seeing. Okay, it's not coming in. They're just going to try to maintain Monarchy. That's not what I'm looking for. I'll make some mana with these. Have to Prismatic Ending that away. Note, I do have some weird things that I can do. Like, I can attack with a Batterskull, like, let my opponent block it, gain 5 life, recast it. Wow. Okay, they do have Expressive Iteration. But I don't want to, like, just run into a Force of Will that takes this Batterskull out of play and then just, like, basically immediately loses me the game. Alright, my opponent's in a better position than I am right now. Like, when I got the Batterskull earlier, I got it so that it would be easier to hardcast with the carpets, but, like, now I'm seeing the situation where, like, the Kaldra would have been better. Don't know what the correct call was at the time, but I liked my reasoning at the time. Like, my opponent just, like, would have like, sandbagged lands for a while and not played them out, and then, like, that Kaldra would still be in my hand. I think I'm gonna lose this game. Like, my opponent's the Monarch, and I'm just, like, one really hot draw away from them just absolutely taking over this game. Brainstorm itself is whatever, but, like, the cards that this is digging to are very detrimental for me. Because it just gives my opponent more time to find, like, things like Force of Will and Force of Negation. I'm at 15. Absolutely at the mercy of my deck here. Luckily, my Flooded Strands have been extracted, so I'm not going to draw one of those. A Brainstorm, absolutely. Yes. I'm going to make blue mana. I'm going to cast this Brainstorm now before I resolve this carpet. And I just get absolutely no surd. Okay, they liked whatever they drew. That's not good for me. That'll be my turn. Yeah, opponent's got 6 cards here. Very much not a good situation for me. Still more cards. And they've kept whatever is there on top. Our fire. Absolutely. So they're just really going hard on the whole Dragon Rage Channeler thing. I am a little surprised that that just goes at me directly rather than just taking out, like, the onboard critter. Like, the Exalted triggers are very relevant, in my opinion, right? Because, like, I get one more Exalted trigger, like, one more Noble Hierarch means that this can attack cleanly into Murktide Regent. We'll take 3 from this attack. I'm healthy enough, but I don't have time. And my opponent is, like, just still being the Monarch. Hey, you know that exact scenario that I just, like, highlighted? You remember that? I remember that. I ought to get Surgical Extraction again on Stoneforge Mystic. What the fuck is... Like, don't you just target the Swords to Plowshares? That is, like, one of my few outs to the fucking Murktide Regent that's in play. Like, because that seems way more threatening to me than Stoneforge Mystic right now. Alright, so I'm going to say no to these carpets for now. I'm going to attempt to play a Noble Hierarch, which my opponent has to use a Force of Will on because they tar-fired my face instead of a Noble Hierarch. Alright, so here's the thing. If I attack with Batterskull here, I can gain 5 life, and then bounce and replay it. And I don't die to, like, a Lightning Bolt effect. But a Force of Will or Force of Negation is very bad for me. I think I need to play around the Lightning Bolt effect. So let's go ahead and get in there. Build to that. Now my opponent takes the free block. I'll just gain some life. And let's make some mana. Alternatively, I have 10 mana. I could just attempt Equip to Noble Hierarch, but that ends up being kind of bad if I get bolted, right? Do the bounce. Like, my opponent has used multiple Force of Wills already. Yeah, they've used 2 Force of Wills already. Okay, Sprite Dragon is horrifying. It's just like another scaling threat, which is what I do not need right now. Okay, so there's the 2 creatures coming in. That's fine. I only take 4, so like I actually gained life in this turn cycle. Urza's Saga. Alright, let's go ahead and repeat my line from the previous turn cycle. Like, they've looked at 2 more cards, so things can happen here. But this is just recurring 5 life a turn. Make all the mana. Bounce Batterskull. Okay. What do you have? You're representing Force of Negation. I'm still going to just, like, play it. Like, if you have the Force of Negation, you have the Force of Negation. You don't have the Force of Negation. And I have the ability to bounce it even through a Lightning Bolt effect, so that's good. Yeah. That Urza Saga is going to be so good. Yeah, I mean, I'm gaining life here. Also, I might time my opponent out. Or deck them. I don't know that decking them is, like, valid, but I'm on a path to do so. I have Snapcaster Swords to Plowshares available here. Yes. Make some blue mana. Let's see if this Snapcaster resolves. Does not resolve. That's fine. No to that. I will gain my 5 life. We will continue this song and dance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I think I'm just continuing this. A little worse this time. Because I'm playing into a daze, but I haven't seen it yet, right? I might as well attempt. Like, I think if I am not, if I'm going to try to live, I have to just, like, play in a way that tries to keep me alive versus this Murktide Regent, which at any point can just attempt to close out this game. Like, my opponent has 12 onboard power. Like, they could theoretically cast a whole bunch of spells this turn and just kill me. Okay, there's a bobble. 4 more spells kills me. It would be hard, but not impossible. All I need to do is, like, remove one of these scaling threats, I think. That turns Ragavan back on as a threat. I wonder if you were supposed to dash that. Alright. Okay, let's draw a live card. How many fucking Thopters can I make? Some is the answer. Can I make 1 and equip it with a Batterskull? So that's 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, plus 5, 12 mana. Do have enough to do that. Okay, so let's say no to these. Crash in with the Batterskull. We do this usual song and dance. I will make my Carpet of Flowers mana. All 10 of it. Play Retrofitter Foundry. Make a Servo. Untap. Sacrifice the Servo for a Thopter. And equip to the Thopter. I now have made it so that I have a flying blocker / flying attacker. This game got all sorts of fucking weird. What that did. No shuffle. Ooh, is it another Murktide Regent? Another Murktide Regent is quite bad for me. It means that that first one gets much better at attacking. Okay, sure. Alright. Sure. One has 5 cards left in deck. Alright, I need to block the 11/11. And then, like, whatever happens with the rest of that happens with the rest of that. Okay. One has 5 cards left in deck. Alright. How do I not die? Can I not die? So if I gain 6 life and block this, that negates these two. I'm still taking lethal levels of damage. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 11 total mana. And I use my Batterskull like twice. I can use 1 to equip to Noble Hierarch, get an attack out of it, gain 5 life off of that. Alternatively, how many Thopters can I just make? So making 1 Thopter plus 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 mana. I can't make 2 Thopters and just block the 2 big ones, right? 5, 11, 12, 13. That gets me killed too. So I have to cast this Brainstorm, it seems. Alright. Like blue. Brainstorm. Shit. I need to Brainstorm and get 1 deeper. This is taking away from my mana. Brainstorm again. Swords to Plowshares is good. Okay. So, let's start making some idiots. I'll go 2. Maybe the Batterskull is not involved in this equation here. Untap. Sacrifice that to turn that into a Thopter. I'm out of the Batterskull equip range now. Guess I just do this now. Force of Negation is on now, and it won't be on later, but I get to play around like the Daze and Spell Pierce type effects. I think I'm still just dead, though. Oh, I was just very dead in the first place. That's a shame. I fought really hard trying to stay in this game. I think this was like a mulligan to 5, right? Okay. Yep, so now I can't untap. I can't do the Batterskull equip. My opponent is going to win this with 3 minutes on clock and 3 cards remaining in library. They died to decking next turn. Such is life. GG's. And all I needed to do was probably, like, win that game, because they won game 1. So if I was able to just, like, make it through that game, I would have been able to time them out, I think. Ugh. Okay, I'm going to keep my opening hand here. I think it's kind of whatever. I have some Noble Hierarchs to get ahead in terms of mana acceleration, but I'm, like, not excited about what this hand has going on. I have a Snapcaster Mage with no spells to flash back. Please don't get stifled here. That would super suck. Didn't get stifled. Yeah, and, like, I have Noble Hierarchs without something to, like, truly accelerate out. So I'm not, like, super happy with this hand, but I don't think it goes back. If nothing else, I can funnel mana into, like, Retrofitter Foundries, and that's whatever. I would like a faster round, though, if I could ask. The last couple have just been these, like, pretty much go-to time, just nail biters. They have been draining. It looks like we're going to be playing against, like, a blue-white control deck or a Bant deck or something like that, so wish denied. Okay. I can't answer a Stoneforge if my opponent plays one here. Yeah. Alright. Cool. I have, like, 8 outs to this, though, like, very easily. That's one of them. So let's go land. Attempt Swords to Plowshares on the Stoneforge Mystic. Hope it doesn't get counterspelled. Cry when it gets counterspelled. Yeah. Okay. I have Snapcaster Swords for the Germ token itself. So I guess I will just kind of keep developing my board here. And I think I'll just go ahead and take the attack for 2. Like, I don't need the Soul Guide Lantern or the Retrofitter Foundry in play immediately. Okay, sure. Yeah. I will take my Reality Smasher worth of damage here. I'll take the 5. I'm still at a relatively healthy life total. I have a decent amount of mana. I probably just do the whole Snapcaster thing right now. Like, my opponent could pitch cast a Force of Negation, but if I let them untap, they could just hard cast it instead. Yeah. So let's go blue-white for Snapcaster. Attempt the Swords to Plowshares. Fingers crossed, because another counterspell would be bad. Okay, cool. Now, I'll play out that Retrofitter Foundry and get my beats on for 2. Yield to those. Okay, so I took some decent initial damage, but I now have the better board. Opponent's card quality is probably higher than mine in hand right now, if I were to guess. Like, I've got a land and a awkward cycler. I don't like that. I don't have any sort of artifact destruction in the sideboard either. Like, I can Retrofitter Foundry, like, chump block that for days, but like, all it takes is a prismatic ending on this to, like, lose out on that situation. There's a white source. There's a prismatic ending. Can feel it in my bones. Yeah, okay. Cool. And this time around, I can't just, like, remove the Stoneforge. Okay. Yeah, no attack with the Stoneforge there makes sense. Force of Will is a little late. Let's play Soul Guide Lantern. Exile your prismatic ending. What? YouTube? So after that skillfully navigated game, well, we're 2-2. We'll see if we can end up with the 3-2. This is an awkward looking opening hand. I think I have to just mulligan this one. God, this hand sucks too. This is awful. Wow. I guess a force? Like, am I supposed to pitch the Swords of Plowshares and keep a force and just hope my opponent is playing a combo deck instead of a deck that Swords of Plowshares is relevant against? IDK. Let's grab a drop, play a Noble Hierarch, and pass. Like, I'm not 100% on, like, just keeping the Force of Will, because if we're playing on something like Reanimator, I have a Caracas and a Swords to Plowshares for that already, like, in keeping this hand, so I don't know. Okay. This is a fair-ish looking deck. My opponent just plays a Life from the Loam here. That's pretty good. Green Sun? Green Sun I can deal with. Green Sun, yeah. I can just Swords to Plowshares, like this Elvish Reclaimer or whatever it's going to be. Yeah. See what we draw. Fuck, yeah. I think I play that, and I have to tap this in order to plow that thing. I might be able to steal this one. Like, we both presumably have pretty bad hands at this point. Okay, that's fair. Like, I just get to play Caracas and start activating my Urza Saga, though. Why is opponent pausing on my upkeep? I'm thinking about, like, crop rotation, away their Savannah, wasteland my Urza Saga. Oh my god, this prismatic ending is so good. Wow, do I just prismatic ending that Mox Diamond? No, I think I will just try to kill my opponent. Like, it's so tempting to take this out, but I think guaranteeing my Urza Saga token so that if I get wastelanded on this turn, I still have a threat in play is pretty important. Okay. Knight. Sure. Hopefully just, like, prismatic ending that away at some point in the not-too-distant future. Opponent keeps pausing on my upkeep. I don't get why. Okay. I probably just Snapcaster Swords that Knight of the Reliquary immediately, rather than make my other Construct token. I don't want my opponent to just, like, start wastelanding me or something. So, let's float my mana. I think I'll grab Retrofitter Foundry. I will play Snapcaster Mage, target Swords to Plowshares, Swords to Plowshares the Knight, crash in for 2. And I can like potentially hit for 5 next turn. Oh, another one? Another one. Force of Will is a turn late here. Would I trade my construct for Knight of the Reliquary right now? Abso-fucking-lutely. So let's attempt the attack in and see how my opponent feels about that. Not like trading. So I'll hit for 3. Now, Knight of the Reliquary sacrifices a forest or plains. This is not technically a plains, despite the fact that it produces the white mana. Okay. No. You stop that. Absolutely not. Get out. Now, this Knight of the Reliquary can be a 5/5 defensively. My opponent can get rid of Savannah for a fetch land. So I'm probably not attacking with my construct yet. Okay, nice. This will be fine. So I'll fetch, grab Tundra, go white, blue, green. If my opponent has the ability to protect this, this is still worth 6 damage. So I think it's fine. Okay, they do have the ability to protect it. But like that makes my opponent's mana situation super awkward. Like I get in 6 damage, my opponent drops to 13. Both of these lands are now just like white producing lands that don't make green. That might end up kind of like bottlenecking my opponent on mana. The Knight of the Reliquary can't activate again. Unless a weird crop rotation sort of thing happens. I think I'll just make my land drop and pass here. And then attack profitably into the Knight next turn. Like I could attack and try to trade the construct for the Knight right now. That leaves me with an active Retrofitter Foundry, but I'm a little worried about the crop rotation blowout. So maybe I shouldn't be. Library. That's a pretty damn good draw. Let's go 2 mana to make the token. Swords to Plowshares. Wrong. Now my opponent is holding the ground pretty well, which is unfortunate. Okay. I can get a little cute here, right? I can attack with both servos. My opponent blocks 1. The one that they block, I will sacrifice and turn into a Thopter. And then I can untap my Retrofitter Foundry and turn that into a 4/4, or otherwise make another Thopter, depending on kind of what it looks like I need to do. Okay, opponent is willing to take some damage here. Yavimaya is very good. That means that my opponent can now rotate this Flagstones because it has become a forest. Nice tech. Alright, so no attacks. I'm going to go ahead and untap this. And I think I'm just going to make another Thopter here. Like, the Thopters are valuable because they fly and don't get blocked by Knight of the Reliquary. Brainstorm is fine. I will just fire that off immediately. Finding an answer to this Knight or this Sylvan Library are both really good. Hello! Whoa. How do I even sequence this? I probably just swords this turn. And then play Urza Saga, question mark? So this gives my opponent a little bit more life to work with for library, but I don't expect them to have a second one of these to protect the Knight again. So doing this now lets us Snapcaster Mage attack in. Yep, okay. So this is the interaction I talked about a minute ago, right? So the Flagstones get sacrificed first so that my opponent can search up a Plains card. And note it is a Plains card, so they can't grab a dual land. Although, admittedly, everything's a dual land right now. Well, fucking prove me wrong then. Sure. That is not really common. Alright, I guess I got punished for not waiting for that Knight to just activate, but I really was not expecting 2 of those. My opponent's going to 4 here, so they can't draw extra cards with Sylvan Library anymore. Okay, crop rotation, sure. Okay. I can turn one of these Thopters into a 4/4, but I think just going wider is more important here. I will just make another body. So if my opponent's going that route, then they're like, and specifically targeting that Caracas, they're probably thinking about trying to produce a Merit Lodge. They've used multiple of these already, though. And this actually can't give protection from colorless either. Like, that's a thing. See what I draw? Oh, right, I know what I draw. Urza Saga followed by Batterskull. Back with everything here. Then I have, like, if my opponent blocks Knight on Snapcaster, they take 3. Then I turn a Servo into a Thopter later. Fine most of the time. There's a very fringe set of things that can happen that punish this attack very hard. But that's fine. Opponent goes to 1. I play this Urza Saga, and I pass the turn. So my opponent can find their stage, copy depths, or rather get stage, copy depths, make their 20/20. I play around Prismatic Ending. Yep. So that's fine. Alright, Sylvan Library. Do your thing. Okay. The opponent goes in. I make a 1/1 blocker. Swords of Plowshares doesn't beat me here, because if my opponent Swords of Plowshares this thing before I block, I just untap this, make a 4/4, and block the Knight. I think I'm good at this juncture. Okay, so I do get to go to blocks. I block there. You don't trample. I untap this. And now I will go ahead and sacrifice this Thopter and create a 4/4 to just make life that much harder for my opponent to just stay alive for another turn. So now I have 3 different lethal threats. The big thing that could fuck with me is my opponent, like, Swords to Plowsharing their own Merit Lodge and gaining 20 life. Can I beat that? No, if they had Swords to Plowshares, I was already dead, right? No, I would have gone to 21. If I attack with 2 creatures and leave back a Thopter and then play Batterskull, my opponent Swords to Plowshares their own thing. I have multiple different bodies already. No, I think I'm okay. What if they Swords to Plowshare their own Knight and gain 10? Then I die to that. Alright. I'll attack like this then. Oh no, they just Swords to Plowshares this Thopter token anyway and then attack in that way. Okay. Alright. So they go to 6 there. Now I just have to dodge another Swords to Plowshares effect. My opponent has Sylvan Library to help find it. 1 mana short of being able to make another Thopter. Alright. This is horrifying. The fact that opponent gets so many looks for it is rough. They've used 3 swords. There's presumably prismatic endings in there because that card is just insane. Alright. Don't like seeing that. Uh-huh. Okay, so they're just calling it a turn then. So end of turn. I do this. And then what's next? Like, am I going for lethal? Both of these have to be blocked right now. I can turn it into 3 different things have to be blocked or my opponent dies by converting a Thopter. Is my Spellbomb in the main deck? Pockets in the sideboard. Okay, what are my options to get with this Shadow Spear? If I make another token, I have a 6/6. If I make a Retrofitter token, I have a 6/6. If I make another Retrofitter token, I have a 7/7. 8/8. Not quite to 20. Like, am I trying to grind this game out, or am I trying to just kill my opponent? And then if they have another Source of Plowshares, I'm in a pretty bad spot. I'm not actually in a pretty bad spot. Alright. Let's junk a Thopter. Okay. Now, what do? I can just play the Batterskull, leaving back a Thopter. I can go for the Shadow Spear situation that I talked about. I wish I had 1 more mana so I could just, like, Thopter every single turn. I go ahead and go wide here. Do I Pithing Needle Mazavith, which is one of the outs my opponent has to surviving this turn off of crop rotation? I think I just grab the Shadow Spear. Whip to the Construct. Gain 8 life. I think I'm good with it. That gets me out of Merit Lodge range next turn. Yeah. Leave the Thopter back for something going wrong. Oh man. Is it actually Mazavith? Yeah, okay. Sure. So I trade 2 constructs for Elvish Reclaimer. Not exactly a great turn for me. Not the end of the world. The opponent needs to remove this Thopter. I have no recourse if they can. I mean, let's see if they have it. Son of a bitch! I even talked about that line. What a game. GG's. So I want this Aether Spellbomb. Beyond that, I'm not sure if I want anything else. Surgical is not crazy. Rest in Peace is not crazy. Either one are insane. Playing both is awkward. I'll probably play the Rest in Peace and Shrink's Knights. Are these games going to drag on long enough that I could realistically assemble Hullbreacher Days Undoing? That one drug on for a long time. I'm not sure if that's the norm. Like, my easiest cuts here would just be to, like, trim both Days Undoing, and then Hullbreacher still stops Sylvan Library. Force of Negation is not crazy. Containment Priest is not crazy. Neither one is, like, great. Containment Priest stops Green Sun. I don't think I want that on the draw. How is this hand? This hand is fine. I don't know if I'm going to actually play this Ponder. Like, I make multiple land drops already. I think I just want to have this to back up the Stoneforge Mystic, so I think I'm just going to, like, play that and pass. Okay, sure. Yeah, that's fine. I will just Prismatic Ending that and just play this game a little more slowly. One basic deck. I want to sandbag this Caracas for a little while if I can. So let's go. Oh no, I don't want to actually play that, right? Like, I just want to keep that for the Force of Will. Okay. So that gets this. And all Prismatic Ending. You kind of have to be cognizant of my clock as well. Okay. I don't have an answer to that right now. I think I'm going to fire that off. Hullbreacher is cool. I think Stoneforge is cooler. So I'm just going to go ahead and fetch that and grab the Kaldra here and just kind of put my opponent to the test quickly. Like, I'll have Saga, Hullbreacher, Kaldra that all attack from slightly different angles. I'm pretty happy with that. That's fine. All right, so I'll just get to play my Hullbreacher out in this turn cycle. The Kaldra rots in my hand for a while. Okay, so my opponent is presumably going to crop rotation for a Wasteland. That is indeed what's happening. Goodbye, Urza Saga. Actually, I should probably just play the Hullbreacher now. Then I can leave up Caracas for Swords to Plowshares. Okay. Okay. Another Yavimaya. Sure. A third Yavimaya. A Green Sunnin? Same question. Prismatic Ending, actually. Prismatic Ending. Sure. So we're potentially just going to play Draw Go for a few turns until one of us draws something broken. Sure. This game is going to drag on. Yep. I'm going to Prismatic Ending a Mox when, like, I've got Knight of the Reliquary, Sylvan Library sorts of cards to deal with. The copy? No. This is a Knight off a Green Sun. Sure. It could be Ramunap, actually. It is just a Knight. I will just Swords to Plowshares this right now. I don't have my third color yet. Nice. Okay, that's fine. So if I Prismatic Ending that, I still have mana to activate my Urza Saga. That's fine. I'll deal with that Brainstorm later. Alright, goodbye, Elf. I'm really surprised this Thespian stage is not copying another land. Like, with this Yavimaya in play so that it taps for mana, it seems good to turn it into a Maze of Ith. Can Thespian Stage copy that Wasteland and then fire it off at Urza Saga? That seems good. Okay, so we're seeing movement on the Thespian Stage now. But we're not. Then it's Construct time. Okay, so my opponent copies the Urza Saga. They're then going to Wasteland mine. Okay. So let's Brainstorm and try to fix this hand. That's a start. Get rid of... Game might go long enough that Kaldra is a real draw, but I don't want it right now. Oh, actually, I'm going to redraw this shit because I'm going to play Urza Saga. I guess I want Kaldra more than the billionth land. Alright, Urza Saga. Bash in for 1, keep my opponent honest with their Maze of Ith. At this point, I'm going to remove this upkeep stop. We're absolutely approaching timeout land, where, like, this game is decided on the clock, not based on anything beyond that. I am going to purely just fetch and thin my deck here. Make my attack, force my opponent to use the second to Maze of Ith it, and call it a turn. My opponent will presume... Oh, no, never mind. Thought they were gonna earn their Urza's... Or no, they have to gain the ability first, right? The Reliquary is fine. We'll just swords that, take that out of the way. Alright, they're gonna make a construct. That's fine. I'll make a construct. Prismatic Ending is reasonable. I'll make a new thing here. What do I even want? Probably want the mana sink here. No, I won't leave this in play. No, I will leave this in play. It's fine. Okay. So I am just going to Prismatic Ending away that token. For the sake of F6 value and the combat damage this turn, I'm going to do this now. I'm going to hit my opponent for 10. I still have a Caracas in play for the potential combo. Oh, my opponent... Oh, wow. My opponent, I think, made some errors there while just playing quickly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Then, yeah, sure, Maze of Ith, one of them, that's fine. I think I'm going to go ahead and just let that damage go through as is. Pass the turn. This leaves up my ability to create Thopters. Green Sun for 1 is fine. Fine. Okay. So end of turn, I can go 1 Thopter, 3 untap, turn it into a 4/4. Fine. Sacrifice you. Untap you. 4/4 you. Soul Guide Lantern, not really what I'm looking for here. Crash in with everything. So that's a chump block. That's a chump block. This is about to get Maze of Ith. That's fine. Opponent goes to 6 after all that's said and done. I think I'll just pass the turn here. I could play the Soul Guide Lantern, but I think I'm just winning by going wide here. Okay. Right. Still another game left. Could have not spent that much time thinking in that case. Alright, do I want Containment Priest or Grafdigger's Cage this time around? Legitimately, more things that attack and block are totally reasonable, but, like, the Containment Priest is bad against the elves. I think I want them. I need to end the game. Go down a Hullbreacher. Maybe down a Soul Guide Lantern here. I'm gonna mulligan this hand. Urza Saga is good. It's not that good. This hand is medium, but I'll keep it. I'm gonna pitch the Brainstorm here. My mana's a little awkward at the beginning of the game. Sure. So this gets a green producing land. And I'll Noble Hierarch. And we'll see what my opponent can do about that. Like, it's really only a big deal if multiple things go wrong. Ponder this turn? Yes. These cards are okay. Will not shuffle. Play an Urza Saga. Just kind of get that going. Call it a turn. Seems like my opponent is keeping a combo-based hand if, like, they're not doing anything on turn 1 or 2. Alternatively, they could just, like, do a crop rotation here and get, like, their Flagstone's value, and, like, that's whatever. Okay, yep. Like, I have a Swords to Plowshares on top of my deck to deal with this if they just, like, naturally have the combo. Oh, they're just going for it. Okay. I'll just fetch. Grab a Tundra. I can just Prismatic Ending here and not give them the life. Gunk that. For my own F6 value here, I'm just going to do this now. Crash in for my damage. Like, I feel like I'm winning if my opponent just, like, made that play. But I do need to, like, keep pushing my damage through. Have to exile that, that's fine. Yes, I have 1 basic to get. Stoneforge. Stoneforge is reasonable. Do this thing. Search. I think I'm just gonna... Oh, well, none of these have text right now, right? I guess Pithing Needle does. Let's cut that off. Play a Stoneforge, yes. Grab a Batterskull. Call it a turn. I am relatively safe here with this Swords to Plowshares around. Need to leave a white mana up basically at all times. Alright, so let's do that. Put in Kaldra. Attacking with multiple things is preferred here. I guess it's not if I play another Noble Hierarch, right? I can just do this. Always yield to these. And there's 8 damage coming in. That's half my opponent's life total. Got multiple Swords to Plowshares available for if my opponent can combo again. Hell of a match. Okay. Their Green Sun is fine. Idleautumn, sure. Okay, they're gaining the life. That's fine. Glacial Chasm. Alright. That's annoying. Yeah. Wait, I have fucking Stoneforge Mystic. Alright, let's yield to that. Timing out becomes a very real thing here. Sure. Alright, activate Stoneforge. Put in Batterskull. Cast a Hullbreacher. I'm gonna just kind of like F6 through a lot of my turns here. Not think about it too much. Like, it's up to my opponent to, like, live via Glacial Chasm. I have 3 Swords to Plowshares in hand. That should be hard for them to do. Yep, there's a Saga. Reasonable draw. Like, they have to copy it with Thespian Stage pretty soon. Yep, that's all fine. Ending is fine. I don't need to remove any of this stuff. Alright, so now they can do the whole Thespian Stage thing. Copy Glacial Chasm. Sacrifice the other one. Wasteland is reasonable. I assume that's going at my Urza Saga, yeah. I'll just make another construct. And we wait. Land drop, go. Now I let this go away. And I kill my opponent on the next turn. And my opponent concedes. Alright. That's the hardest I've worked for a 3-2 in a long time. Overall thoughts on the deck list. Fine, but I wouldn't be excited to play another league with this deck list. Like, I think this is a reasonable legacy deck list, but, like, I'm very much a basic lands are really good sort of guy, and only having 1 basic in this deck was definitely relevant in multiple rounds. I feel like I had to play pretty damn well in order to pull this 3-2. Like, I don't feel like I was carried by the strength of this deck list. I don't know that I have definitive thoughts on this deck list. I feel like the Stoneforge Mystics were pretty good throughout the league. Like, having access to that equipment as a finisher was totally reasonable. But, like, is this better than just, like, playing Uro? No, like, probably not. I felt like the Hullbreachers were pretty clunky in a lot of situations. Like, they can be very good sometimes, but, like, there was even one point where I had, like, a Brainstorm cast into my Hullbreacher, and I was like, yeah, I don't know if I can actually cast this here, because, like, there's some real downsides if I didn't hold up the Swords to Plowshares in that spot. Yeah, I don't know that I like the sideboard. Like, I really liked the Aether Spellbomb. Like, that was probably my all-star in this league. Loams were solid. Carpet was solid, but, like, I never felt super great about the Veils. Like, maybe that's just my own preferences for how I think these games are going to play out, but it just felt really slow. And I didn't feel like I got better at, like, mid-rangey stuff in a lot of cases in the post-sideboard games. Like, one of my opponents brought in, like, a Court of Cunning. I don't have anything of that nature to just, like, go up 1 notch in terms of aggression for the post-sideboard games. All right. I'm gonna go do something that's not Magic for a little while. I hope you all enjoyed. I need a break after this this league here. If you enjoyed it, click the like button. If you didn't enjoy it, click the dislike button. I don't care. It helps me out either way. Have a great rest of the day, folks. See ya.